Guys. So in this assignment I was talking to you about how sketchbooks are like visual journals and they're reflections of ourselves. And sketchbooks usually have a lot of sketching and other kinds of art making in them, but oftentimes there's not only drawings. Oftentimes there's also words or thoughts or maybe even a lot of writing, like here. This is a book I have at home here, and it's a book. It's called 1,000 Artist Journal Pages, and it's a book that shows the pages inside other artist journals. So here you see this person drew their blue bag, and they have some kind of writing down here. Obviously, this was a day when she had a lot of sushi and she just felt like drawing it. We can put anything in our sketchbooks and journals, can't we? Down here, I really like this style here of the drawing, but there's lots of writing here up in this tree where the leaves might be. So I think that's kind of cool. Here, remember when we did our assignment, I told you to pick a word that described you and then tell me a story in 3 boxes. This person here, it says days of my life, and each box has her doing something. So I thought that was kind of a cool one to show you. And you know, everybody has a different style. A lot of times people do mostly art in theirs. I love that one. And then that looks like maybe a stormy night, but looks like there is, you can't see it really, but they ripped some words out of a newspaper or something and then glued it down. Another piece of words that have been ripped out of a magazine or something and glued down. So a lot of times we take found objects, like maybe swatches of wallpaper or other things that we want to remember for other ideas or another time, or we just want to make it into part of our art that day, and we glue found objects into a sketchbook. This is string that's been glued around magazine clippings that this person likes. Okay, so that's one book I have. This is just another example of somebody who likes to paint in their sketchbook. And probably, I think this artist just likes to choose everyday objects and just practice drawing and painting objects. Let's see. So our sketchbooks are visual journals. I already said that they're a reflection of ourselves. And a lot of times there'll be notes to yourself in them. Maybe a lot of writing, maybe just a word, maybe there are words about an idea that you don't want to forget. Maybe it's a drawing that you did on another piece of paper, and maybe it's not a masterpiece, but you just love it and you just want to save it, so you cut it out and you glue it down in your sketchbook. This is a found object of mine. One of my children made this for me when they were really little, about 20 years ago. It's made out of those little twist ties. We were in the supermarket in the produce section, and that's what they were doing, making tons of little guys out of the twist ties. And I just wanted to save it. That's me at 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I tend to have a hard time sleeping sometimes. These are pages with words and drawings of mine. Just another middle of the night drawing. Okay. Sometimes we make lots of words and we just doodle and add paint or other kinds of color because that's the art that we're making that day, you know? There's me again at 4 a.m. Not a great look, but it is there. That's me trying out paint. Okay. Sometimes we're just trying out skills, practicing skills. These are small drawings that I did on scraps and I just didn't want to throw them away. So I glued them in. That's writing about how I did that. This book here I use a lot, especially for school ideas, and I'm trying lots of things out, and I'm trying to think about how I'm going to talk about it in class to make students understand. These are ideas about patterns that I talk about sometimes that can be carved into clay. There's a lot of clay ideas in here actually, which is why you'll see in a few pages that this is a very dirty and muddy sketchbook, because I tend to think of things when I'm trying to figure out a lesson on the pottery wheel. That's something I glued in that I made with another artist in their studio. So when I'm on the pottery wheel, I tend to think of things, and then I just want to hurry and write it down before I forget it, and I just don't bother to wash my hands. I usually have this right next to me. So this is lots of ideas in my head. I happen to have clean hands that day. So there's like formulas here about how to build things. And starting to get a little bit messy. Starting to get a lot of clay on the book. These are ideas that I saw on wallpaper, and I just didn't want to forget them because I thought they would be good for carving into clay. There's the wallpaper, and trying out some other printmaking and things like that. More swatches of patterns I thought might be good for another time, so I glued them in. Scraps of paper that I glued down. And just, I guess that's about pretty much it for this book. Here I'm trying out a new pen and putting water and it kind of blended, but I thought that was okay. I liked it. Sometimes we do things in a sketchbook that we really like. You know, sometimes we're not trying to make any kind of masterpiece or whatever. Most of the time that's not really what a sketchbook is for. It's not for trying to make masterpieces often. It's for practicing skills. It's for being free and not being afraid of making mistakes and just taking what you get. And then if you don't like it, learning how to change it into something else, because a sketchbook is something you can show people or not, often. Okay? It's a place for experimentation, a place to put down thoughts if you want to. I'm experimenting with paint here. Now you'll notice that on my sketchbooks, sometimes I use both sides of the paper, but I don't want you to do that because the paper in your sketchbook is thinner, okay? So I don't want you to ruin drawings that are on the other side by using both sides. We will only use one side of our sketchbook, okay? All right, okay. All right, so that's about it. I hope you continue to enjoy your sketchbook. Okay, continue with the lesson.